started a
Mm.
Halloween playlist yesterday. Very excited for that.
Ooh, I love Halloween.
It's freaking bats. I love Halloween. Hello, friends and fiends. Welcome to Bugs Need Heroes, a podcast where an artist and an entomologist team up to illustrate the inspiring abilities of insects by creating bug-themed superheroes. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Kelly.
Producer Derek and Rotundi are also here before we get started creating this bug-inspired hero. What's bugging you, Kelly?
Well, my cat Finn, if folks have gone onto our Instagram, BugsNeedHeroes, or my personal Instagram, Fills Your Niche, they've probably seen many photos of Phineas. He's a little black cat. He's got one eye. He's got one back leg. He's very fat. Yeah, he's great. But in the he's perfect.
A specimen.
He's a big boy. In the morning, he started doing what I call the cat hat, where he climbs up above onto my pillow and puts his little gut around my head and goes back to sleep.
Yes.
And I don't know why he's doing this, but he's so happy about it.
That's adorable.
He's like 14 pounds of cat belly on the top of my head.
He's concerned about your neck health. He just wants to really help you build those gains in your neck.
He's worried I'm getting cold, I think. He's chilly,
he might
maybe.
be getting cold.
Yeah.
You know, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting cold, did you enjoy your trip to Portland to come see me?
I loved it, and I loved seeing you and Derek and Dr. Mike, and Dr. Ped was there, and what a fun time we had.
See us in the meat space.
In the meat space.
You don't usually get that.
No, I just get you via video in your dungeon.
Yes, in my dungeon.
So it was good. I carried your baby for a little while.
Yes, I was so surprised that she
good.
she just got handed over, and she was so chill about it. She was like, "Yeah, okay, I guess
she
I'm
was into it." She was making little animal sounds at me.
She's big into animal sounds, right? A lot of if she doesn't know what an animal says, she just goes, "Rawr." And it's a good default. I'm like, most animals can make that noise. Can't say you're wrong.
Yeah, she was very, very cute.
Yeah. And then, of course, you met my 5-year-old, too, who I believe asked you some mosquito questions.
He did. And he also explained mosquitoes to me, which I love. I love when little kids do that. Yeah.
He's definitely one of those kids that like holds on to info that you're like, where did you hear that?
Yeah, where did that come from?
Why do you know that? Sometimes he'll spit math at me. I'm like, where did you learn this? Because I certainly didn't teach it to you. He's like, that's a rhombus, mother. I'm like, Sesame Street's doing his job then, because I didn't tell you that was a rhombus.
Good old Sesame Street.
I love Sesame Street.
The Comic-Con was really fun. Our panels were a good time. Yeah, it was good.
It was really good, and I felt like we had a healthy turnout for our panels, which always makes me really happy.
Oh yeah.
There'd be nothing worse than showing up to a panel and there's like 2 people there.
That's always my worry.
Yeah. No,
we just give the panel talk to each other.
Can you imagine? That'd be so funny.
Derek and I have done that before.
Oh, really? That's right. You guys went to that inky dinky little con that was like 20 people and the whole con.
That was not a great experience. We won't say the name of that con, but we will
just know that it was very small. And you and Derek got a lot of. I think that's the time you came up with this podcast.
Yeah, Derek and I birthed the podcast on the way back from that.
So it was worth going. It was worth going just through that. Nothing's really bugging me. It's just I wish it was cooler because we're in October now. Mm-hmm. I believe the Pigments episode just dropped. If you're listening to this, you can now triangulate when we're recording. And this episode, I believe, is a spooky episode.
Oh, I love a spooky episode.
I love Halloween. As I got older, I think Christmas has overtaken Halloween now that I'm a parent, because there's something about like the Christmas joy. But Halloween has always been my jam. I love Halloween. Are you a Halloween baby? What do they say on the internet now? Girly? Are you a Halloween girly?
Halloween girly. I love Halloween. I start watching the spooky movies. I like real paranormal movies. I don't like
Mm,
gory movies. Gory
same.
is a little too much for me.
I
I
do
don't
not
want to
like
feel
gore.
nauseous watching a movie.
Right.
I don't need a lot of murder.
I like Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, Hocus Pocus. I
That's
love
more
a
my
witchy
vibe.
movie. I
I
love
like
The
Over the
Craft.
Garden Wall. I like those sorts of things.
Yeah. And it's the season of chili, and
Yeah.
I'm actually making chili today in the crock pot. Sorry, Texan listeners, I put beans in it.
That is wild to me. I've always only had the beans. So
Yeah,
I like beans though.
I can
Kidney
kind of
beans in a soup.
smell it right now. Ugh.
Is chili a soup or is it a stew or is it its own thing?
I think it's closer to a stew than a
I think it's
soup
closer to a
because it's
stew.
thick, right?
I agree. Maybe
But
even a
it's also
chowder.
soup season, which I love. I stored a bunch of corn cobs from the farmer's market in the freezer, so I'm gonna make corn chowder. And I got a butternut squash for butternut squash soup. Give me all the soups.
Do you feel that making soup in a crock pot is fulfilling your needs to bubble a potion in a cauldron?
It's close. It's pretty
Close.
close. Yeah.
Your ancestors say, "Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Give me that soup."
Yeah, I like to walk by and casually mention a few words of magic over
You
my
know,
over my
just every
crock
now and
pot.
then, sprinkle a little intention in there. It's
Yeah,
fine.
make it healthy.
I
But
heard recently that like some of those potiony ingredients are just like old timey names for vegetables.
I hope so. I
They're
really
like,
hope so. It's
like,
just soup. It's all soup all the
yeah,
way down.
that like frog's eye is actually just like some sort of berry or whatever. Uh,
Oh, we do have I don't think we mentioned that this is our first episode since we got a grant.
a grant. We're fancy now.
Which is very exciting. Yeah.
I haven't gotten a grant since college.
Yeah, we got a grant from the Entomological Society of America. It's their Chrysalis Fund, which is for educators, basically. I wasn't sure we were going to get anything because I thought maybe it was more for teachers. But we're out here teaching, so
We're
I think it works.
educating.
Yeah.
You and I have both technically taught. Well,
Yeah.
you're still teaching. I'm just the schlub who doesn't teach anymore.
Yeah, I was an adjunct professor for a couple of years, and then getting my PhD, I had to teach as well, but that was only labs. I miss teaching lecture. Teaching lecture is so much fun because we have a blast talking about science, and I like a lot of student participation.
Yeah, your second
It's
panel was
fun.
much more teachery, which I
Did it
thought was
feel
really
teachery?
fun. It felt very much like, welcome to lecture 102 with Dr. Ben and Dr. Kelly. It was very fun. It was a very fun panel.
Oh yeah, I think me and Ped would make a good team teach moment. And if
Is that up on YouTube now?
it is, yeah. So I think they're up on BugsNeedHeroes YouTube, and they're up on mine and Ped's channel called Nerdy Naturalists. So, which
Very
Amanda
good.
did the logos for. It
I
looks
did.
fantastic. Yeah,
We really should make like an umbrella LCC that covers all of us.
I think we'll get to that at some point, but we should, yeah, get everything under one label. But I think so. I'm excited. I'm excited for the grant. I'm excited that we got to do those talks, and I'm
I mean,
excited for the spookiness we're about to discuss on the
any
episode.
association with a really long name, is very fancy. So
Yeah.
we're very fancy now.
We're fancy now.
We're fancy. We're real. We're a grown up people podcast. Speaking of being grown ups, let's talk about cryptids.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fake bugs.
We're gonna cover the Mothman today.
The Mothman.
I happen to love cryptids. As a biologist, I think they're super fun to talk about.
Big same. I love.
I would love to have a second podcast where I just do the science of cryptids. It would make
I
me
would
very
love
happy.
that. I'm from obviously I'm from Sam Squanch. I'm from Sasquatch country.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So,
Pacific Northwest is where our friend Bigfoot is very
Portland
well known in.
loves Bigfoot. Rose City Comic Con that we were just at, their logo is a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see any Bigfoots at the Comic Con.
Well,
That'd be a fun costume.
They're very secretive.
We did see some Wookiees, which are close.
Which is very close. Very, very close. Dare I say, copyright infringement. Bigfoot should get on this. No, but so we have Bigfoot. I know there's like a Jersey Devil.
Oh, we have the Jersey Devil in New
Yeah.
Jersey who lives in the Pine Barrens.
And you're from the Pine. How do I know you're not a Jersey Devil in disguise? You're wearing a skin suit as we speak.
Yeah.
No!
Don't tell anyone. It's my deepest, darkest secret. Actually, one of my good friends, her mother is related to the Leeds family, and Mary Leeds gave birth to the Jersey Devil. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, my best friend growing up.
That's spooky.
Hi, Amy, if you're listening.
Or should I say Jersey Devil?
Jersey Devil. The Mothman is a cryptid from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Now, he's not just there. We've seen him in other places or derivatives of Mothman. Like England has an Owlman, for instance, which sounds kind of similar. And there have been sightings in California and Minnesota and a few other places. But the big legend, the big lore we get is from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Have you seen Mothman, like photos or drawings?
The Mothman I know is just the silhouette of some sort of bipedal creature.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got glowing red eyes. Sometimes he has antenna. I'd say usually he has antenna. You can't always see them in his silhouette. Yeah. And the two versions I've seen, he either has wings for arms like a bat, or he has wings on his back like a moth. I prefer the wings as the arms. I think that's a more interesting design.
It would be more biologically feasible.
Yes.
If he had like a bat or a bird. Their arms,
it's a more recognizable, like organic shape, I think, if he has.
It's a shape we have in nature. We don't have any examples in nature where it's arms and then wings coming out the back. There's no body plan that can do that. It's kind of why one of my favorite professors from college gives a little talk about dragons and how dragons can't be real because we don't have that body plan of wings coming out the back.
Right. So when there's dragon has the wing arms, it's called like a wyvern. A wyvern, yeah.
Wyvern, yeah. And that's more likely that if it were to exist, we already have body plans that follow that. Again, bats and birds. So, and pterodons, other flying reptiles, Quetzalcoatlus.
Isn't there a lizard that has like glider wings?
Maybe those are his ribs.
Oh, it's his ribs? Huh.
Yeah, he can extend. I forgot what they're called. They can extend their ribs out and then glide. Yeah,
that's heckin' hardcore is what that is. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's very, very
he's not a bug. We can talk about it more.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Derek just put a picture in the
in the Discord.
Wow. Okay, but imagine if a dragon looked like that. How crazy would that be? Oh, he's a Draco lizard. Oh my gosh, he's already a dragon. He's just tiny.
He's a little guy.
He's just a little friend.
Just a little friendo. Oh yeah. Derek put all the different dragons in there.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of these from playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, if you're a Dungeons and Dragons fan, you'll know all these dragons.
You'll get all the dragons.
I knew a girl in high school who was like, dragons was her whole personality. You know, there's horse girls, there's wolf girls. This girl was a dragon girl.
A dragon girl? Special breed. The dragon girl.
She was great. We were friends for a long time. You know, she's got a kid about my age. They've played together.
Aww. That's
awesome. About my kid's age, I should say, not my age. So we got okay, let's look at all these dragon types. You got the worm. No legs, no wings, dragon head. That one seems feasible also because we have legless lizards, right?
Yep. Yeah, we have limbless lizards and we have snakes.
Right.
You know,
which I think we've discussed before. The distinction between those two sometimes gets a little blurry. Then you got I want to say wyvern because there's a Y in it, but you said it some way else.
I said wyvern, but I'm not sure if there is a correct pronunciation.
Wyvern seems more correct to me just because I feel like it's an old word, so it's probably wyvern.
Yeah.
Then you got, of course, the dragon. 4 legs, 2 wings, big tail, big neck, horns, the whole thing.
Whole deal.
And then lindworm I haven't seen. That's like a dragon, no back legs, no wings, just front legs.
But front legs. Yeah.
And then this one, I want to say it's amphitheater, but I know that's not correct.
It's amphitheater.
Amphitheater. I prefer amphitheater. That's kind of that Quetzalcoatlus design of like wings.
It's very feathered.
Feathered. no limbs, and then the drake, which is the 4 legs, no wings. Although I think sometimes they have drakes be young dragons, and they like don't get their wings till
till later.
Kind of tadpole style. And then of course there is Trogdor.
Yeah, the Burninator.
The Burninator, who comes in the night to burnate your village. He only has one arm, which is I don't know of any creature that only has one arm coming out of the back of his neck there.
I mean,
beefy arm.
It's very beefy, and that's really what matters. But we're not talking about dragons today.
We're not talking about dragons. We've taken a detour down Dragon Lane. Let's talk about Mothman.
So in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, between 1966 and 1967, we have about 100 sightings of Mothman. Well, 100 recorded sightings. There are apparently a lot more sightings that people were not comfortable telling the newspaper or the police.
Of course.
Because no one wants to be...
You've seen a Mothman. No one wants to be the weirdo who saw a Mothman.
Yeah, no one wants to get laughed at. So the Mothman is humanoid. Depending on who you're talking to, he's either 7 to 10 feet tall, which is 2 to 3 meters for everyone who's not American.
Our international listeners.
Yeah. And he has glowing red eyes. Big glowing red eyes. Now, there are no descriptions of his face. No one has really seen the face. I think one woman claimed she saw his face, but she couldn't describe it, and she ended up in a like a mental health situation over the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. He either has no head and just these red eyes, or he has a head with the red eyes. Now, I think it's impossible for anything to have no head and eyes. Does it make a lot of sense?
Right. It feels like those are a package deal.
Yeah. So I'm assuming if you're looking at Mothman head on and it looks like he doesn't have a head, it could be like a vulture situation with a neck. Like a bird where it's kind of like down.
You think he's heroing in?
Yeah, or like an owl maybe, where the head feels a little more connected to the
listeners can't see
body.
Me doing the
Amanda's doing a lot of neck work right now.
I need Finn to get swole.
Yeah. But yeah. I can't think of any vertebrate who would have like the head.
That makes sense situation. Though. Like if he was like an ambush creature.
Yeah, and he's squatting a little.
Oftentimes he's skulking with these long front arms, and so it makes sense that he'd be little Jekyll and Hyde sort of posture as he skulks around.
But he was also described, and I love this, as slender and muscular.
Oh,
sexy Mothman.
Because there's with werewolves too, sometimes you'll see designs where it's like their legs are still pretty much human and they don't really start to become wolfish till like navel
till the claws
up. Yeah. Kind of like a mermaid situation where like one half of you is allowed to stay human but the other half has to turn. Whoop, sorry about that. We're back. Kelly lost her headphones there for a minute, technical issues, but we're back now. I have no idea what we were saying.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
I believe you were describing. Okay, so let's back up. There was a lady. She saw the Mothman. She tried to describe. Oh, we were talking about how he had hot legs, and we were talking about mermaids. That's what we were talking
about. Yeah, werewolf. Hotness werewolf. Yeah. So yeah, Mothman is described as being slender and muscular, which is funny. But and the headlessness. So I think the headlessness is more like a vulture, eagle, situation.
I mean, do moths have necks really? Or does he maybe he just has like a moth top. Moth top, human leg.
He's more described as bird-like.
Oh, interesting. So they call him Mothman, but they think there's some birdness in there.
His wings are not moth-like. His wings are feathered, like a bird's, or maybe how people describe angels. That sort of situation. Yeah.
Interesting that he's named Mothman then. Although he does often have the antenna, so I guess he got to be no bird has antenna.
Well, there's no description of antennae in any of the witness reports. All of that is artist rendering. We don't.
Interpretation.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no description of what his hands or feet look like. Someone said his skin is white, but that's about it. There's really not a lot of great descriptions of the Mothman. He was coined as Mothman from a newspaper reporter because at that time the Batman villain Killer Moth was pretty popular.
Yes, 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 yes. I know Killer Moth. Killer Moth gets a bad rap, unfortunately for Killer Moth.
I've heard him described as like Batman without any of the fun trappings of Batman.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably pretty true. So Batman does this thing a lot, just like in general, where there's going to be a rich kid, and then something tragic happens to him, and he goes bad. Meant to be obviously a direct foil of Bruce Wayne is a rich
Right.
kid, something bad happens to him, and he doesn't turn bad. But certainly he's not okay, at least like for the last 30 years. Batman has definitely not been okay.
Ooh, Batman needs a therapist.
Oh, he needs so many therapists. Like he needs like a whole team.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, some of my favorite Batman stories are like the villains pointing out, like, you're just as crazy as us, dude. You're just as untethered from reality as any of us.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just had money, and so no one put you away, you know? So
But yeah, Mothman is Killer Moth. He doesn't look like Killer Moth at all. There's no even Killer Moth's wings are more dragonfly like. So they're not even I think it was just the name and it kind of stuck. Uh and then later in the Killer Moth series he forms a pact with a demon and becomes Charaxus,
mhm.
which looks the drawings of Charaxus look like someone's ripping off Mothman.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He appears in the Teen Titans, and he very much has a
Oh,
very Mothman
Mothman
appearance
feel.
in that one. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like fuzzy. He's a man with big wings. He's
And I
stripy.
think the wings are moth-like, right?
I'd say they're moth-like because
Moth.
they've got that there's four of them thing going on rather than just two.
Yeah.
So I'd say they're moth-like. They're definitely
Well,
fuzzier. Although I guess
Charax-
moths are pretty funny.
yeah, well, Charaxus is a weird choice because it's a butterfly genus. It's not even a moth genus. I don't know. It probably just sounded cool, and they're like, let's go with that.
Yeah, especially when you're talking like in those. I mean, we went to the panel this weekend and we talked about Jack Kirby a little bit
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how a lot of times it is just about what is going to look cool, what's going to sell. We're not here to do research about moths. We're here to make a man who, when I look at him, I say, that's a Mothman. You know, like, that's it.
Killer moth. We'll just go with that. Nothing scarier than a moth.
Nothing. Well, like, I think obviously they were trying to make a foil to Batman. You know, he's a
Yeah.
bat. What is a bat hunt? Moths, you know, so he's a moth. And they use him really, really well in Batgirl Year One.
Oh.
Batgirl's, you know, she does not have Batman's blessing to be Batgirl. She's just doing it on her own, and she's got to fight a villain. And they chose Killer Moth to be like a villain that is technically a villain because he's like doing crimes, but he's not like, you know, they don't want to throw this
He's not a
college
super
age.
villain.
Right, he's not a super villain. And then later he teams up with Firefly, and then Firefly is way more into the villainy than Killer Moth is, and it kind of escalates. So yeah, Batgirl Year One, very good, would recommend. But that's kind of like that's kind of where Killer Moth goes these days. Is he's kind of seen as this like, okay, you got the powers of a moth, okay, man, all right.
Cool.
He's got like a bad costume, you know. He's like bright green and orange. It's not good.
Yeah, not a good coloration for moths.
No.
But Mothman, our friend the cryptid,
Yeah.
It's unknown if he is a bad guy or a good guy.
Classic.
So some tragedy, which I'll mention in a little bit, but some tragedy kind of happens around him, and it's unknown if he is there to foretell the tragedy or cause it.
Oh, is he
One
a
of those.
what's the word? Harbinger.
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 Harbinger's the word. It's been a while.
Yeah, I speak real good. Don't you worry about it.
So the first time we have a sighting of Mothman is November 15th, 1966.
I can't believe it's so late. I'm sorry. Like
You think it was older?
when I think of cryptids, I think like, oh, this thing happened, and the people of yore could not explain it,
Right.
so they came up with something to explain it. It must have been a Mothman. But the '60s is like,
yeah,
late.
not a time
I
to
mean,
start
we
making
have
things up to explain the natural world.
nuclear power, and you're out here talking about Mothman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he was seen by two couples, Roger and Lena Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallet. They were at a it was a World War II munitions plant that they called the TNT area. I guess couples went out there to hang out in the 60s. There probably wasn't a lot to do. And they saw Mothman, and he like flew after their car. Yeah, hang out in quotes. But he chased them in flight, which is pretty neat, which means he was flying at, they think, between 80 and 90 miles an hour, because they were hoofing it out of there, because it's pretty scary.
I mean,
Can
yeah,
you
pedal
imagine
to
you
the
see
metal.
this big winged creature with red eyes? You want to get out of there pretty fast.
That's I was expecting when you say, "Oh, they saw the Mothman." You know, again, speaking from Sasquatch territory,
Mhm.
it's like, "Oh, I saw something move and I didn't know what it was. It was the silhouette.
Right.
It was a silhouette I couldn't explain." But for it to like chase them down in their car, that's like next level first sighting. That's
That's
like,
frightening. Yeah,
yeah,
that's very, very scary. I couldn't imagine. Now, I don't want to come at this as a skeptic, because that's kind of boring. Let's, for argument's sake, let's live in a world where this could happen.
right.
I would be very, I would be very scared.
That would be
Very, very
terrifying.
scared. Yeah. So I feel for these couples. I don't think they were making it up. I think they really, truly saw something, and whatever that thing was. And skeptics think it could have been a barred owl, or
Right.
a great blue heron, or even a sandhill crane, which are very large birds. And West Virginia is their migratory path. So possible. I don't
So
think
like
any of those
in
birds
a
would chase a car, though.
right, because like the only bird I really know that like swoops you is the Australian. I think it's a magpie technically,
Oh, the
and it
magpie.
like
Lots of birds will
they'll.
swoop you.
Oh really? Okay, okay. Because I just know
Yeah, yeah.
that Australia specifically has like swooping season, where like you gotta be looking out because they're
Yeah.
coming for you.
I used to work for New Jersey's Department of Fish and Wildlife, studying a few different species of shorebirds.
Mm-hmm.
And the least tern would swoop me all the time. I had to walk through their colony, which was about 500 birds, and take note of the eggs, how many chicks there were. And they swooped me horribly, and they'd poop every time. That's how they make predators
Oh,
go away. They dive bomb you, then
that's
they poop on
interesting.
you. Yeah.
So, but both of the birds we've described here are not big birds. You know, the way that like a
No,
crane is
generally
a big bird.
big birds don't swoop. A big bird is easier for a predator to grab onto.
Oh,
So
okay. So they
they
don't
don't.
want to get near them.
No, they don't. You'll find bigger birds are much more skittish than small birds. Small birds are less afraid because they are faster and can get
Mm-hmm.
away. A big bird taking flight from the ground is slow. It's a
Right.
slow bird.
It's got to get a running start.
Yeah, it needs a lot of lift. So for a large bird like a crane, or a barred owl to attack a car seems pretty unlikely. Yeah, I
We
wouldn't.
saw some swooping while you were here in Portland. I'm realizing now. We went and saw the swifts
Oh, the swifts
in,
are awesome.
in
Yeah,
Portland. If you don't know, the swifts will make homes in things like chimneys, caves, sorts of things, and they gather at dusk, I should say, at dusk, and they kind of make this swift tornado,
it's
and then
beautiful.
one of them will go in, and all of a sudden they're all going in. You know, thousands upon thousands of these birds. I don't know what the final count of bird is in Portland, but it's so many birds.
It's a few thousand, right? I think.
I want to say
I
it was
didn't look at the
it's
numbers.
yeah. I'll have to look, or Derek will do it because he's the producer. less than 10K, says Derek. So,
So
thousands of
9,000-ish
birds. So
birds. Yeah.
9,999 birds, all living in this one abandoned chimney. It's very cool. But there was a hawk. I believe it's a Harris hawk that stands right at the very top of that chimney, waiting for someone to be brave enough to go in, and he's going to get him. And at some point, the Swifts like banded together and chased him away, swooped him away until he left. It was, and then people applauded, and that was very funny. You were like, "Yay!"
Yeah, we're rooting for the Swifts. We're rooting for the little guys.
Always root for the little guy.
Yeah.
They published the count for the night we went, and it was 7,740.
That's a lot of Swifts.
That seems so specific. I don't know how they could possibly come up with it. They must have some sort of algorithm of like, we think there's this many. But I could see how that would be really intimidating. Even, I mean, that's a bunch of little birds coming at you.
So imagine a
big
bird-like
creature,
organism, yeah,
man-sized.
And like I said, it wasn't just this couple. There were lots of sightings, about at least 100 over the course of a year. Now, I don't know if... Have you seen the Mothman prophecies? The Richard Gere vehicle?
No.
But
it sounds like I should.
Gotta watch it. It's a classic. It came out in the 90s. It's got Deborah Messing and one of my favorite actresses, Laura Linney.
Oh, yes.
Officer. She's fantastic. Richard Gere is the least appealing part of the movie. Everyone else around him is fantastic. He's doing a weird New York accent, which doesn't make a lot of sense because he's coming from Washington, D.C. I don't know what happened there. But the Mothman Prophecies was based off of a book by an author named John Keel. Now, John Keel, it's hard to talk about Mothman without talking about John Keel. John Keel lived in New York City. He was a guy who studied a lot of paranormal things. He considered himself a sort of skeptic, but open-minded. And he passed away a while back. I think 2017. I have that written down somewhere. So John Keel claimed that he was getting phone calls from something non-human that was predicting disasters. So supposedly he knew about the Martin Luther King Jr. assassination and Robert Kennedy's assassination and some other stuff. And while he was sort of getting these weird phone calls, he received a prophecy for the Silver Bridge collapse, which happened in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So in 1967, December 15th, the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is the same place people had seen Mothman for that full year, collapsed and killed 46 people.
Oh,
horrible.
Wow.
Yeah, real awful tragedy. Right before Christmas. Just, yeah. And John Keel said, "Oh, I got a prophecy about that from whatever this thing is that's calling me on the phone, and I knew it was going to happen." And he made the connection that Mothman was there to either cause the bridge collapse or warn people. He's not sure. That's really the only bad... Mothman doesn't seem to have done anything else bad other than chase some teens. So people think...
Which, who hasn't? Who hasn't chased some teens?
Who hasn't told some teens to get off their lawn before? That's all he was doing. But other Mothman-like sightings have happened around other catastrophic events. So in 1999, the infamous Russian apartment bombings, people claim to have seen a Mothman. And then also, what was the other one? There was another... Chernobyl. So like a week before Chernobyl happened, people who work there claimed to have seen a bird-like man in the sky hovering over the plant that they called the blackbird. So there are lots of these weird sightings of a Mothman-like being that comes about before catastrophes.
So he isn't necessarily causing the tragedies, but he arrives in the place where they are about to happen.
Yeah, so we don't know if he's causing
Mm,
them or if he's warning, or maybe he can't do anything. Maybe all he can do is
right.
observe. Maybe he's an observer.
It feels very Cassandra from you know, antiquity. She if you don't know the legend of the mythos, I guess. The mythos of Cassandra is that she could always tell prophecies that would be true, but no one would ever believe her.
Oh, that's tough.
Right.
Curse.
I
Yeah,
honestly can't think of a worse curse. Like
that's a
I think
horrible
it's
curse.
I think it's Hera that cursed her, but maybe it was Athena. One of them cursed her. And so she always knew what was going to happen. She was always right, but no one ever believed her. So like what's the point of being right if no one ever
Oh,
it like ugh.
it really only helps yourself. You can really
Right.
only, yeah, serve yourself with that and not others.
Yeah. That's it. I want to believe that Mothman is there for some some nice reason.
Some
But
good
he's there.
reason, yeah.
Yeah, that he knows disaster is about to strike and he's there to like I don't know, help those who are about to be need ushered to another dimension perhaps.
Yeah, maybe he's a psychopomp.
Yeah.
He leads people to the other side. I don't know. But yeah, so he's been popping up around these other catastrophes, which I think is fascinating.
Interesting.
Um, what are these folks seeing? I don't know. I don't have like a good answer for that other than hallucinations, which I think is
Yeah.
always a lazy response. Mass hallucination? I don't think so. It seems unlikely.
Mass hallucination is also something that I'm like so skeptical about. That like
Yeah.
how
But
do
I'm
you
not a
jointly have
psychologist, so I,
right.
you know.
Yeah, obviously I have absolutely no qualifications to comment on any of that. Other than I'm just
But
like, how does that happen?
as a layman, I guess I find it unlikely.
Yes.
So we've got Mothman. He's seen all over the world. He's seen in other parts of North America too, and maybe a harbinger of doom. What's interesting is in the movie The Mothman Prophecies, which I made my husband watch the other night because he had
Of
never
course.
seen it either. I saw it with my dad like when it came out. My dad and I were movie buddies. He would always take me to the movies, just me and him. And I have a little
Let's all
brother.
go to
He
the
just took
movies.
me.
That's extra funny. I mean, it's important. I think that
It
people
was like daddy-daughter day kind of a thing.
yes, people
Yeah.
undervalue the one-on-one interactions that you can have with your parents.
It's not like he didn't do things with my brother. He took
Right.
my brother. He did other stuff with just TJ.
Right.
We did movies. We love movies.
That's funny.
But that was the first time I saw the Mothman Prophecies. But we watched it Friday night, so I would be fresh for this recording. And there are a lot of the movie breaks up John Keel into two characters. So if you read John Keel's book, it's kind of nothing like the movie. It's very loosely based. I would say watch it if you want like a good spooky thing for October. But in the movie, it mentions he recorded the voice of this creature who was giving him prophecies, and that the voice could not come from any human vocal cords, which very cool movie thing.
Movie magic.
But John Keel, in his book and in real life, claims that he did try to record it, and he got nothing but static. So that part of the movie is completely fabricated for fun movie times.
Oh, so we're purporting now that like he's this monster that chases teens away from the TNT zone, which I'm sorry, is a hilarious name.
Yeah.
It's like, teens, stay away from the TNT zone. But he's also sophisticated enough to not only use a phone, but to track one down. Because, like, assumably he doesn't have a phone.
Well, there's lots of paranormal talk about ghosts and otherworldly beings being able to tap into like electricity and electrical impulses, that sort of thing. So perhaps he's communicating not using a phone, just latching onto the system we've created for communication. Again, all of this is we're having fun, but I feel like as a scientist I have to be like, we're having a good time here.
This is all just speculations.
I don't need emails.
Actually, so I mean, I think I've told you this before, but my anthropology teacher in college, he was part of the Bigfoot Society. Not because he believed in Bigfoot, but because he liked the kind of people who believed in Bigfoot.
Yeah. People who love Bigfoot and cryptids are fun people.
It's an interesting, I mean, it's a pretty harmless hobby too, I feel like. Like just believing in this thing that's so otherworldly. I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah, one of my personal heroes, Dr. Jane Goodall, thinks Bigfoot is plausible. And it's my favorite thing about her. I have a little Lego set of Jane Goodall on my desk. I think she's fantastic. What, Derek? Producer Derek says he would shoot Bigfoot. How dare you?
You gotta kill Bigfoot. If you see a Bigfoot, you have to kill it.
No.
You have to kill it to prove it exists.
But what if it's the last one?
It's not currently protected by the ESA because it is not documented.
You can shoot Santa too. You can shoot Santa, Derek.
Would you shoot a fairy if you found a fairy? I think it's a bad idea to
put it in a jar. Yeah.
Ooh,
okay. I'll say that if you injured and captured Bigfoot for science, I would understand why you did that. If you try to capture a fairy, you will be cursed, and that is the end of you. You're done.
I would just say goodbye.
I would just say thank you for blessing me with your presence, fairy. So long. I'll speak of this to no one.
Yeah. I would feel the same way about Bigfoot. We should maybe next Halloween, maybe we cover Bigfoot, or when I start my own cryptid podcast, we cover Bigfoot.
I wrote a comic in college once where it was Bigfoot. I'll have to dig up the sketches for it because I think you'd really like it, Kelly.
I probably love it.
It was Bigfoot, and he's walking through the forest, and he finds a jackalope that has been injured, and he tries to get the jackalope back home, because he's Bigfoot. He lives in a forest.
Yeah.
So then he tries to take the jackalope back to Idaho so it can be free. And they just become friends at the end, and the jackalope stays in his Bigfoot's pet. It was like this really short 8-page comic. I'll have to find
adorable. Find it. Yeah, I'd love to see your artwork for that. I'd actually love to see if you would draw a Mothman. Amanda's interpretation of Mothman would be awesome.
Do you like the arm version, or do you like just the wings version?
However you're feeling. Whatever.
All right. Well, if he uses a phone, I feel like he has to have hands.
Yeah, I bet he has hands.
I mean, you can use that one claw like a bat, I guess, to dial the phone.
All of the 60s, artwork,
so maybe it was rotary phones.
All the artwork I've seen, he usually has hands. I bought a Mothman image from the Comic-Con that we were just at, and I framed it, and I'm going to hang it in my office because I love Mothman. Next time I want to get a Bigfoot. I want like a little cryptid collection to hang on the wall.
That would be great. That would be awesome. Cryptid Society.
So I thought in my field notes here, I've done a little Mothman compared to moths, even though he's essentially bird-like. So the first thing I wanted to look at was wingspan. So the Andean condor has a wingspan of about 10 feet, which is 3 meters. And that's what people think Mothman's wingspan is. The problem with only having a 3-meter wingspan is that he's going to be too heavy. If you're like a humanoid, so a condor weighs about 15 kilograms or 33 pounds, and they can barely fly with their 10-foot wings. They live in the Andes. They ride a bunch of currents. If you've ever watched one try to take off from the ground, it's pretty awful. They're very, very slow, and they can barely get up there. If you figure Mothman is human size and weighs like 160 pounds or something, his wingspan can't be 10 feet. There's no way 10 feet of wing is gonna lift.
You even said they think he could be anywhere between 6 foot and 10 feet. So if he was
7 to 10 feet, yeah,
you're talking. I mean, he's gonna have meters long wings.
Oh, absolutely. Well, then I thought, what if I look at some flying reptiles? Like, what are our big boys, and which one weighs pretty close to a human male? And that's a Quetzalcoatlus lawsoni. They're the smaller Quetzalcoatlus. We have 2 species of those, and they weigh 143 pounds. So 143 pounds isn't too far off from a regular human weights, right?
Wait, hold on. Are you telling me there's a lizard that weighs 143 pounds?
No, Quetzalcoatlus, the
Oh,
flying
okay.
reptile. Yeah, that guy. To fly at 143 pounds, is at that mass, his wingspan and her wingspan was 16 feet.
Yes.
So if Mothman weighs roughly 150 to 200 pounds, he's going to need wings that are at least 16 feet in length, not 10. And I don't think anyone's going to mistake 10 feet for 16. I'd say 16 to 20 feet. I don't know what I didn't do the math to see how the scale up works because, you know, I don't have to do math on this podcast. I just do biology.
Is it the first? I think it's Walking with Dinosaurs that has the Quetzalcoatlus, where they did like all the puppets of it. And I remember the guy, the narrator was always like, the Quetzalcoatlus. The Quetzalcoatlus.
It's a hard word to pronounce, yeah. So if Mothman had bird-like wings, that 10-foot wingspan is not lifting him.
No,
not even close.
Good.
Which would mean Mothman is magic. And that's okay with me. We can do magic. Why not?
Why not? I mean, we discussed this before, I think, that fairies only work if they are magical.
Yeah, so fairies work if they're magic. There's like some stuff about Bigfoot where he might be magic, and that's why we don't see him. Like he can disappear.
That's interesting.
He comes from another dimension. Again, I'll save it for the cryptid podcast.
I think Bigfoot's interesting because he kind of has like seasonal variants too, or like geographical variants. Because like I would argue that a Yeti and a Bigfoot are the same like family. You know, the way that like a gorilla and a orangutan are.
Yeah, I think there's like a whole taxonomy you can kind of do around Bigfoot. If you look in the Discord, Amanda, there's a statue.
Here he has moth wings. These are moth wings.
Yeah, this statue is in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's very cool.
Look at the booty on that man.
Got a butt. Yeah, it's got a bit of a butt. The statue was put up in 2003. It's 12 feet tall, and it's by the author Bob Roach. Artist Bob Roach. It's very cool looking.
Okay. Bob Roach sounds like a made-up name that the Mothman made to have a human persona. He made a statue of himself and then put it up there, and he gave himself mad cheeks while he was at it.
He does. He's got
Bob Roach is the Mothman. Bob Roach is the Mothman.
Yeah, I don't know why he decided he gave Mothman moth wings when in all the sightings they've been described as bird-like, but that's okay. It looks cool.
Maybe
if you go to Point Pleasant,
not to upset the Mothman.
There's actually a Mothman festival in Point Pleasant every September. So if anyone wants to go, I want to go.
We gotta get some Virginia, West Virginia. Here we come.
So it's pretty cool, and they have a Mothman museum and research center, which I would love to check out.
So they really take this seriously. They're really they're whole hog on the Mothman. They're like, this is our guy.
I think it's kind of nice. The tragedy of the Silver Bridge collapse is absolutely terrible, and they've sort of flipped this awful experience into a way to get people to want to come to their town, to have a celebration, and I think that's really cool. I think that's nice. If Mothman happened to have moth wings, it's even less likely that he'd be able to fly, because the structure trying to lift a humanoid boned body, none of it would work. So I guess we could say bird-like wings are the better way to go, but they'd have to be a lot bigger, or Mothman is magic.
Right.
And that's the wing comparison. Eyes, he's got those glowing red eyes. Some moths have red eyes, so that's pretty cool. That's fine with me.
All right.
That's biologically a thing we have. I wonder if Mothman's eyes are compound, like an actual moth.
Oh, yeah. I would assume they gotta be.
Or if they're just like big red glowing lensed eyes, singular lens. Derek's saying he's a bird. He's probably a bird or something bird-like.
Well, I think I showed you, and I think I sent it to Dr. Mike too, where it was the owl and the reflection off of that membrane they have in the back of their eye shone back red. I think it's up in the Discord. I think I put it in the Discord somewhere.
Well, there's always there's eye shine, and eye shine can be different colors depending on what light's shining on them. There's red eye from cameras, which is red reflected back from the retina.
Right.
And some animals just have red eyes. I mean, Derek put a sandhill crane in the chat. I think that's not a red eye. That's a yellow eye.
You see, there's red all around its eyes.
Yeah, he's
Oh
got a
yeah. Oh,
red
that's an interesting idea. Maybe he doesn't have such huge eyes as much as he has that
red.
bird-like skin around his eyes
Well,
that's
the
brightly colored.
sightings say his eyes are reflective red, so
Oh,
it wouldn't be the feathers around. But in that other photo that Derek shared, that's an owl, and you can see. Look at that. Look at how red that looks. That's very cool. That's just
yeah.
reflected light back.
Yeah. I think this top dude, that's what I'm imagining when I hear the Mothman.
Yeah. So most likely Mothman is bird oriented, I guess we'll go with bird like, which is super pretty cool looking. Although I still like all my artwork where he looks kind of mothy.
Yeah. I think that's interesting that he gets named Mothman then when he's so far we've only heard really birds.
He's so birdie, very birdie. Oh yeah, Derek is sharing an image with us from the Mid Florida Bigfoot group, and it explains animal eye shine and color charts. So if
Yeah.
people want to go check out their website, that's Mid Florida Bigfoot group. Maybe we can put a link to the show notes if we want people to get a really good idea what that eye shine looks like. That'll be good. But that's really like Mothman is not a moth. Nothing about him is moth-like. It's just that newspaper article. I guess I would have called it Birdman, Owlman, which
Owlman,
again
yes.
is
Sounds
what
more and more like he's really Owlman.
The Brits called him Owlman, so it kind of makes sense to me. And again, in that Chernobyl disaster, they called him the Blackbird, which sounds pretty apt.
Is it wrong of me to make me feel like that's more plausible in like, oh well, if there's another kind in a faraway place that's nowhere near the other place and they have a similar sighting? I don't know why that lends credence to
It's
the
cool.
madness for me.
Yeah, I think it's very cool.
But if he was a Mothman, what powers do you think he'd absolutely need to be a Mothman? For me, I go straight to antenna. He needs those antenna if he's going to be a Mothman.
How is he picking up chemical cues without
How
an
is he?
antennae?
How is he anticipating the arrival of these teens? He doesn't have.
Well, superpowers would be flight, prophecy. We can give him the power of prophecy, right?
Do moths have the power of? I mean, we talked about spiders being able to triangulate where the moth will be.
Yeah, I don't know that moths probably don't have anything like that because they're not hunters.
Right.
It's a very huntery necessity.
What if the Mothman was a hunter? I don't think he is, though. I think
because he's more bird-like, so
yes.
He could be a hunter. I think he's an observer. I kind of like that observeriness that he shows up because he maybe has to watch all this stuff and he can't do anything about it.
Oh, maybe he's cursed.
Maybe he's cursed.
Maybe he was once a man and now he has been cursed
to wander the earth and observe horrible catastrophe. That would stink. That would really stink. I just feel bad for the Mothman.
Oh, I gave him bird eyes and it was a mistake. Okay, I gotta undo this.
Oh no! Wait, why was it a mistake?
Because I gave him that like round middle pupil. I'll send it to you so you can see. And now he just looks horrified.
Oh, I think you can see the Mothman art that I purchased on our Insta. Did I put it on Instagram or did I maybe on our Facebook page? If I didn't, I'll put it up later today. Or I'll put it up when the Mothman episode comes out. So Perfect. it'll be around. Along with Amanda's art. I gotta remember who the artist was I bought that from. Did you put it in?
Keep in mind this is like the barest of sketches. I have not done anything to this yet. And you'll see what I mean by a mistake that giving him bird eyes.
Oh boy. That's terrifying.
Right? Gotta take away those bird eyes. Give him back just the red glowy eyes. Ooh, mistake.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh, Mothman.
If you want to like absorb some Mothman and culture, you can go to that festival. You should watch the Mothman Prophecies. You can read John Keel's book, which is also called The Mothman Prophecies. There's lots of paranormal websites if you want to poke around at that. It's fun. Oh, West Virginia's baseball team, the Black Bears, they have special Mothman jerseys, which are super cute.
I feel like they should just commit and become
the why not be the Mothman?
Be the Mothman.
Yeah, opportunity missed. Oh, Mothman's also in Fallout 76. I forgot about that. Amanda, if you could see one cryptid, which one would it be? Like in person.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard because there's some really good ones out there. I feel like encountering Bigfoot, no matter where you would be scary because you don't know what his deal is. You don't know if he's been kept secret so long because he takes out anybody who sees it. You know, you're just in the woods and they just got lost and they never made it home, you know?
Do you remember the time I thought I found Bigfoot poop and it turned out it was just grandma's horse poop?
I do not remember that, but that tracks 110%. We spent a lot of times over the summers camping with my grandparents, and we always looked for Bigfoot. Make no doubt about that.
Yeah, I would too. I would definitely look for Bigfoot if I lived out there.
I think if I was to encounter a cryptid, I'd want it to be a unicorn because unicorns only come to those who are pure of heart.
So you'll never see it.
So I'll never see a unicorn because my heart is full of judgy hate. But I'd want to be the kind of person that a unicorn would approach.
Yeah, don't we all?
Don't we all?
It's okay, Amanda. I'll also never see a unicorn.
How dare you come to me now? But I am this. The Last Unicorn deep cut for you there.
I love The Last Unicorn. I watched the heck out of that when I was a kid.
Okay. So we're gonna give the Last Unicorn treatment to Mothman. What is the plot of his animated 70s movie? Is he trying to find other Mothmen, or is he trying to warn someone about a great catastrophe, Secret of Nim style? Oh man, imagine
Secret of Nim style.
Don Bluth. Yes,
Mothman?
Don Bluth Mothman would be horrifying.
Yeah, I don't know that I could handle that. I think I'd be very uncomfortable with a Don Bluth Mothman.
It would fit right in though, like with that like oily creature, the Tim Curry oil spill in the in the what is it?
I haven't seen that.
Someone's screaming at me right now. Fern Gully, yes, Fern Gully.
Oh,
yeah, the gullies of ferns. Yes, but I wish Don Bluth was still around to give us that Mothman treatment though, because he could really do the spookiness of Mothman right, and the ambiguity,
a Dark Crystal style Mothman.
Oh, that's a good point.
Hey,
there's another creature that has wings on a humanoid.
That's true. The Skeksis. Yeah.
The girls have wings for some reason. Don't worry about it too hard.
Sexual dimorphism in Skeksis. I feel like I could give a talk on that.
Next panel coming up.
Yeah. But I love Mothman. I love all the. There's something about at least 100 sightings over a year.
Yes,
that really tickles me.
So, in your scientist heart of hearts, do you think all these people were seeing something for real, and were just assigning it Mothman because they didn't know what it was, or do you think it was the '60s and it was teenagers and they were going up to TNT Zone to imbibe in things their parents would not have wanted them to imbibe in outside of the TNT Zone?
But it's not 100 teens. It's like adults.
Yeah, that's true.
There were adults and police officers, I think, also. So I think everyone was seeing something, whether it's birds or...
I saw a thing, and I want to believe it was Mothman, so I'm going to say it was Mothman.
Yeah, something scared them. Yeah, Derek keeps saying sandhill cranes. Sandhill cranes were recommended by a biologist, and I just don't buy it. It's too skinny. It's too skinny.
What if there was like several of them in a group, and you couldn't tell where one crane began?
One ended and one began. I don't know. Yeah, they're big, but they're skinny. That long neck is not going to look like a...
Okay, well, what if like the they were stacked on each other and wearing a trench coat?
Maybe then.
Maybe that
Gotta be a trench coat.
they were trying to get into a phone booth to make important calls, obviously.
Yeah. I think it could have been an owl. It could have been a few owl sightings that just got kind of weird. I don't know. But I don't, like I said, I don't like mass hysteria, and I don't think that's a thing. Or at least not a thing that happens often. There's also been links to Mothman and UFOs. That's a crossover. Just a lot of this paranormal stuff tends to come together.
Knowing that his first like big credible sighting is outside that, like, you said it was like, what was it? I keep saying the TNT
an old World War II munitions factory.
Munitions factory.
Mm-hmm.
My heart of heart goes straight to Godzilla. Straight to post-nuclear fallout. And Chernobyl. Don't forget Chernobyl, too.
Yep.
I'm saying Mothman used to be a man, and he has become mutated. Maybe there was a canary or something down there with him. Maybe he was a man who carried a jaunty black crow upon his shoulder.
Become a bird.
Yes, and the horrible mutations that they went under due to nuclear waste being improperly disposed of, he has become a Mothman. And he was a safety coordinator, so he wants to warn other people about safety that is about to become unsafe.
The Homer Simpson of cryptids.
Yes, correct. But he's good at his job, unlike Homer Simpson. And so he is doomed now to roam the earth trying to warn people about unsafe work conditions.
Yeah,
it's unsafe to be anywhere where, and he's going because he's like, go guys, this is unsafe, but he cannot tell them. Although I guess it doesn't make any sense for him to be a raven because they can talk, so he'd still be able to talk. Why can't he tell them? I guess he has to call them on the phone so they're not terrified of his horrible visage.
So, I don't know.
I just the phone calls really is like, he's got to call because something about him in person, people can't listen. They have to run and scream.
Maybe he can't communicate in person. Maybe
maybe he has bad self-esteem because he is a Mothman.
Yeah, maybe it's anxiety. I get it. I've been there. It's fine. How's your Mothman drawing coming?
Oh well, sorry. I gave him a little speech bubble since you saw him last, and he's whispering things. I like the antennas on him. I tried to make the antennas as feather-like as possible because we were
give him the real moth treatment.
So
his wings would, if he's going full moth, he'd have to have the beautiful scaled wings of a moth.
I think. Hold on.
Or are you giving him bird wings like the sightings?
I was giving him the bird wings like the sightings. Let me open a new thing and we'll start a moth man with the proper descriptions here. Okay, you said one person described him as like white, right? So hold on, let me get his body sketched in. He's got beautiful gams, muscular legs here. Oh yeah. Oh no, I gave him one gam and one skinny leg. He skips leg day, but only on one leg. There we go. Give him some gams. Okay, so he's got no neck. He's got just a head. So we'll give him a torso.
Then no neck and just a head reminds me of that. Who is that Looney Tunes monster?
Tasmanian Devil?
No, he's just hairy.
Oh yeah. His name's like Sweetheart or Sweetums, I think. I think Sweetums. And he's like big and red.
Yeah, him. That's kind of what I was thinking with the no neckness.
Okay, so no head, big gams.
Derek makes a good point that it's funny we're doing an imaginary creature after we did a scientific grant.
We're like, ha, scientific grant. Here's your science for you.
It's October. We're having fun.
All right. How many arms do we give the Moth and Man? If we're going by descriptions, he only has the 2. All right. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to moth him up with some extra arms. I'm going to give him the long arms. I think the long arms are scarier. And what do you think for hands? You said no one's ever described his hands.
Yeah, no one's described his hands. We don't know what his face looks like. It's just the red eyes.
But if we're going with bird, do you think he just has human legs like Reverse Mermaid style? Or do you think he has birdie legs like a harpy?
That'd be creepy. Like the backwards knees of a bird.
The backwards knees of a bird. I can also just give him
not knees, they're ankles technically, but they feel like knees.
We'll give him the 3-toe with 1 toe in the back thing that they draw on like dinosaurs sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We'll give him some scaly shins to show that that's where the birdness begins. Kind of like an eagle that way. All right, hands. Back to hands. Do you think he has
maybe clawed?
Clawed hands. Got it.
He's frequently drawn with clawed hands. But again, I don't think I read anything about anyone mentioning what his limbs look like.
Once again, we'll go with kind of that eagle talon look. Okay, and then wings out the back. We're going the feathery wings? We'll go in the butterfly wings?
Well, up to you. I mean, sightings are all bird-like.
Okay, we'll go bird then. I have a cute drawing of Mothman, and now I have a horrifying picture of Mothman. Perfect. That's what I longed for. Give him some featheriness. He's often furry, but if he's a bird, he really should be feathery. All right.
Yeah, he's always drawn a little fuzzy. It's a lot of artistic license when no one's made a good description of what he looks like.
Right, because that one said he was white, but everyone else said he was this black bird. Let's give him that like that Professor X, like, I don't know, mind powers. He can sense things about you that you don't want him to know. He sees all the unsafe things you are doing.
Yeah, in the movie when Gere's character gets contacted by the Mothman, he says, "How do I know you're real?" And then he puts his phone in his shoe and he goes, "Where's my phone?" And Mothman goes, "In your shoe." And he's like in a hotel, and then he goes, "Okay, what's in my hand?" And he puts his hand in a drawer and he goes, "Chapstick." And he opens it up and he's holding chapstick. It was really cool. Very creepy part of the movie. Potential spoilers for a movie that came out in like when did that movie come out? 2002. It came out in 2002.
Richard Gere was going through a thing there for a while. He was making all those creepy movies. I think he was trying to get away from his like romantic comedy persona.
Yeah, he probably wanted to do something that felt a little more serious.
Okay, does he need a loincloth or not? Or should we give him little booty shorts?
Oh, let's give him booty shorts.
All right, we're going to give him that, like, what year? I think it was the 70s when they wore those, like, basketball shorts that were
is the Mothman caked up?
Oh, yeah, he's got to be caked up. I'm drawing him from the front, but just assume he's caked up back there. Okay, give him these little... I guess it was the 80s when they wore these little shorts, but he's a man of fashion. You know, his fashion is limited to what he can, source living out there in the woods in the TNT zone.
We don't know. We don't know where he lives. What if he just comes in from another dimension? Another universe, perhaps. The multiverse theory. And one of them has Mothman.
And one of them is Mothman. Let's glow up these eyes. It's time to glow up these eyes. I'm not going to color anything else, just the eyes. Yeah, there we go. Now he's a Mothman. Here to tell you your secrets. Okay, here's I've done nothing of like originality over here, other than I guess the booty shorts.
That's okay.
There he is. All right, here we go. One Mothman B&H style.
Look at his little shorts. He looks great. He's fantastic. I'm gonna have to when it's all colored in and finished, print it out and hang it with my
Perfect.
It'll go on my
Not as cute as my little one from earlier where he's whispering things, whispering dark secrets.
Fantastic, Amanda. Did you enjoy talking about Mothman?
I do enjoy talking about Mothman. I had no idea that he wasn't actually a Mothman. All this time I thought he was a Mothin man about to get taken out by Batman at any time. It turns out he was an owl man all along. Is there anything else we need to say goodbye to?
I would apologize for doing a silly episode to the ESA.
We're not going to apologize. We're going to own the silly episode.
Yeah, we're going to own it.
It was fun. It's Halloween. We will be doing a wolf spider episode coming up. That will be much more serious.
Right.
Because they're my favorites. So, but this was fun, and I'd love to do another cryptid episode at some point, maybe next October.
Yeah, a year from now we'll do another very special episode of Bugs Need Heroes. Cryptids need heroes.
Cryptids do need heroes.
Not recognized as endangered, but maybe they should be. So come back next week, back to our usual track of Bugs Who Need Heroes, the wolf spider. Have a happy and safe October. We'll see you next time. Love you. Bye-bye. Bugs Need Heroes is created by Derek Conrad and Kelly Zimmerman. Hosted by Amanda Niday and Kelly Zimmerman. Bugs Need Heroes is produced and edited by Derek Conrad. Our music is Ladybug Castle by Roll Music. All character art by Amanda Niday. Got a bug question? Email us at bugsneedheroes@gmail.com. Check us out on bugsneedheroes.com for the visual companion to our episodes with the artwork of the bug-related heroes. We also have an Instagram, Twitter, and subreddit under the Bugs Need Heroes name. Thanks for coming by.
I love Amanda dancing, but I still can't hear.